We're going to look now at our stress and how our stress can actually spiral through our thought processes. So first of all, let's again remember that we need to differentiate between positive and negative stress. So positive stress can be that motivating factor, right? It can assist us in achieving the outcomes that we need to get to in life. Negative stress, it can be continual and it's chronic, right? And that in turn can cause a lot of physical and psychological reactions, right? So what we're looking at here, it's not the actual events that cause stress, but rather the way that we perceive them and the way that we deal with them. So our reactions really are governed more by our internal messages than the external reality. Because some people could look at your situation and not see anything really stressful there in that situation. But it's what's going on up here. It's that thinking processes that are telling us that, you know, it's stress, that it's a stressful situation and we need to deal with it. So have you ever really heard yourself saying statements like this? You know, I must do better. You know, this is just not good enough. I need to be doing better. What about, you know, oh, it's okay, other people can have fun. I have got to get this done. You know, life wasn't meant to be easy. Other people can be thinking about others. You know, look, don't worry about me, it's about these people. I need to put time into them. I need to help them out. These are all things that are happening up here mentally. What about, I'll do what others want me to do because that way then I won't upset them, or they'll like me better. So if they want me to do it, I'll do it. Yes, I'll put myself out there. And you end up getting so busy, life just takes over, right? And you don't have any time for yourself. So these are all things that are happening in your mind, right? The things that are constantly going on up here. And again, you're the only person that knows what's happening up here. So what we're going to look at here is this stress spiral, right? And we'll talk through how it works, and then we'll look at an example of it. So with this stress spiral, it starts with a stressor, right? So that situation that occurs could be quite simple, could be quite, you know, horrific. So that's your stressor. Then we go into this instant negative thought, right? Now, we go into the negative thought, and then that causes then this physical and emotional reaction. From that point, then we have a cognitive result. So that means something mental is happening, right? That mental, emotional strain. Then there's a consequence, right? There's a consequence which in turn leads to increased negative thoughts. So this is a spiral. So let's look at this now in an actual example to see how it works. And we'll use something like an exam because a lot of people do get stressed over exams. So first of all, we have the exam, right? And as this exam's starting to loom, that's where these thoughts are starting to happen. So in this particular example, with this negative thought, this person's saying, I'm going to fail. I'm not going to do well. I'm going to fail. I'll have to give up university, right? So it's all the negatives happening. So from that point, then we get back to this, the body reaction. Now that can be anything. It can be, for some people, headaches. It can be panic, right? Fear. Where they start to feel sick, they can get sweating. Some people just find that they panic so much that their mind completely seems to close down. Right? They can look at a question and they just can't work it out. So these are all those physical reactions that happen because you're telling yourself, I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail, I'm not going to do well. Right? So then we have the cognitive ability. Right? So we've had the physical, then it leads into the cognitive. And then from there, what actually happens? Self-actualization. You've been telling yourself you're not going to do well. This has happened, leads to a poor exam result. You fail or you just don't do well at all. You're disappointed in yourself, right? And when you're disappointed in yourself, what are you telling yourself? I'm useless at exams. I can't do exams, right? So with this spiral, as we look at this example, there's one spot there that we can actually change that outcome. So we go from the exam and we can change it so that when we get to this point here, I'm useless, we have a different response at the end. And that comes from this one little area. that thinking process that happens, right? So from telling yourself, I'm not going to do well, I'm going to fail, right, that negative thinking pattern in there, look at the negatives that happen all the way through that spiral, right? It's negative after negative. So you need to think about how can you change your thought process? What can you do to change this to a more positive approach? Right? And just imagine if you change that and how this whole spiral will change just from changing that thinking pattern.